Welcome back. Well, this was the big one. This is the one I was waiting for quite a while, pretty much since Rosemary debuted uh, early this year. So we got Impact to talk about today. As usual, the spoiler warning is in effect. Please do not post the taping results in the chat room for people who don't like to be spoiled. Sorry. FYI, I still got a sore throat, so my voice may give out here before too long. So let's not dawdle, shall we? Talking about Impact from December the 1st. Red versus Blue. That's how they were marketing this thing. Because, Rosemary and Jade on Twitter, they call themselves Red and Blue, and it just fit. Nice little marketing tag there. So our show begins not with a video promoting the match that they've been hyping up all week on social media. No, we can't have that. No, this is a video for the return of Broken Matt. No, the video chronicling everything that happened to him recently. The DCC arrived, and they battled, backstage, and he fell off the crane, and he broke his brain, and he started dressing like Mr. Rogers, and then he gets struck by lightning, and he got his memory back, and that's the stuff we got to focus on here. Kind of annoying that the big Rosemary Jade Knockouts title match was not even mentioned in that opening video package. That irritated me. But the show proper begins strangely with an Aaron Rex Open Challenge. Now, you would think that the Broken Matt thing would have started the show. But no, that was the second segment, oddly enough. Not sure why. No, but Aaron Rex comes out, issues an open challenge, and I guess the thing with him and Jesse Goddard is finally done now. So, he says that he's made the Grand Championship like the most important title in wrestling or something. And, I'll give them kudos on one thing. They have at least been making somewhat of an effort to keep that title relevant and not just shit all over it like the TV/Legend/Global/King of the Mountain/ whatever the fuck championship. So that's a positive. So anyway, Moose comes out to accept his challenge. I love how he said, "Play Grado's music." This guy really is so much better as a heel. They're back to doing 3-minute rounds for the Grand Championship matches. They were 5-minute rounds for a while. Now they're back to 3. Not that it mattered since this match was over in like a minute and change. Rex is playing chicken shit for a little bit, and then Moose just obliterates him. And then Rex cries. So it looks like they're giving him a crybaby gimmick. Not the most dignified gimmick they could give the guy, but hell, he got Mizdow over. He could make this work. Maybe this is intended to like push him in a new direction, a more heelish direction, which I'm perfectly okay with. Moose is the new grand champion. Okay, that's great. I mean, they don't really have a spot for him in the world title picture at the moment, so this is fine. I wouldn't say no if they wanted to just do away with the 3-round structure at this point, because it hasn't really caught on. I don't hate it, but if they're not going to really utilize it, not going to make a big deal out of it, then I don't know. It just doesn't seem like worth doing. It was an interesting idea. I don't really know if it's worth taking any further at this point, though. Okay opener, I guess. DCC, the second segment, the DCC come out. They have an in-ring promo. And the weird thing about this is they're still talking with that computer-distorted voice that they use in their video packages. But this was an in-ring promo. It was obviously pre-recorded. The verbiage was obviously pre-recorded because he's talking with the mask on, It doesn't sound good. I had trouble understanding what he was saying. And it's strange because by now we know who these guys are now. Even weirder, we know it's three guys who are all really, really good on the mic, and you're doing this with them. And why wouldn't you want to take advantage of their mic skills instead? Okay, I understand. Okay, you want them to be mysterious, fine, but again, it's kind of hard to understand them when they talk like this. It comes off a lot better in the video packages. When they're in front of a crowd, why not just have them talk normally? I'm not sure. So anyway, Jeff comes out, and he says that they're going to get a title shot tonight. And so the heels beat down Jeff, and then the lights go off, and then they come back on, and then, ah! It's Broken Matt. And he makes the save, and, it's a big moment, and it sets up a big tag title match, and at this point I was like, okay, what's the real main event here? Because this already got the big video package, and now it's this huge segment with this big return and everything, and you're treating this like the main event, not the real main event that you were hyping up on Twitter all week. It got a big reaction. The Broken Matt thing is still like probably the most over thing they've got going right now. So I understand it. It's just that for a big chunk of the year, there were a lot of complaints that they were focusing on Matt too much, and they didn't. A lot of other things kind of got shafted for screen time, and a lot of things suffered as a result. And at the time, it was very frustrating because what Matt was doing kind of sucked. But he made changes, and it doesn't suck anymore. So I kind of understand it because it is the most pretty much is the most buzzed about thing in wrestling, this broken gimmick. But now it's back to getting a little, maybe a questionable amount of screen time at a time when I wanted them to focus on something else, something that was very important. Was this Knockouts main event? Because the Knockouts have gotten main events before, but they don't get them all the time. It's still kind of a rarity when that happens. So I like it. I want it to be treated like a big important deal when it happens. And otherwise they were, but until they got this the Hardy stuff out of the way, the focus was not as much on the Knockouts as I was hoping it would be. So anyways, so after this, we have an X Division video package. We have It's all about Go for Broke, about their, they won the thing last time, the match where like the winning team all get title shots. Okay, Go for Broke wins. So Mandrews and Braxton Sutter are getting title shots. So apparently it's going to be in a triple threat instead of 2 one-on-one matches. I guess to protect DJZ because he's been working injured for a while. All right, whatever. The weird thing about this is that they're all talking. They're all still in face mode. In fact, they're in super baby face mode to the point where where generic baby face is like the only personality trait any of them are displaying. It's like what happened to these guys' personalities? Especially in DJZ's case, where he's the one with the gimmick and the character that's been like defined at this point. But they're just talking about, we're all good friends and we know each other so well, and I'll defend my title against anyone, anywhere, and blah blah blah, and then they do mention that DJZ's been working really beat up for a while, and the question is raised that whether Sutter and Mandrews might take advantage of that, and they play it kind of ambiguous, but Mandrews does come off looking a little more determined than Sutter does, a little more. Perhaps more likely to take advantage of an injury should he get the chance. And at that point, I was wondering, could we be seeing a heel turn coming up here? I wasn't sure because it's Mandrews. I mean, he seems kind of tailor-made to be a babyface, but I wasn't sure. I think the possibility was raised there, so they were teasing something in there. So we go to the X title match. We got DJZ defending against his two teammates, Braxton Sutter and Mandrews. And again, it's not as long as I would like, and unfortunately, it's not as impressive as it probably should have been either, because DJZ is selling the knee injury for a lot of it. And okay, kudos for them telling a story at least. He aggravates the knee injury, and so he's trying to gut through the pain and win the match regardless, and he does. And he pins Mandrews, which, again, I'm like, can we give this guy a push already? For the love of God. He's so underutilized. And then we get the heel turn. Okay. So he goes for the knee, he attacks him, and he tells Sutter to piss off. And so now Mark Andrews is going to be a heel. So he's getting over as a face. Seems much more natural that way. So why turn him heel? That I don't understand. I mean, he literally has a baby face, sort of. His offense seems kind of tailor-made to work a babyface ring style. It just seems like an odd choice to me. I'll give it a chance just because I like seeing them doing something with this guy after a long time of them just really doing nothing with him except, like, kind of be like a place filler here and there or just job out in random matches. I mean, if you watch the guy's work, he's really fucking talented. So I like to see them doing something with Mark Andrews. I don't know if I don't think I would have gone with a heel turn, but it's something at least. So that's a step in the right direction. So then we got then we go over to the knockouts. We got Maria calling out Allie, and Maria is still pissed about getting hit with that pie last week at Thanksgiving dinner. So it's Maria and Allie. They bring Maria and Laurel, rather. Excuse me. Maria and Laurel Van Ness. They bring out Allie. No sign of Sienna again. Did her and Maria have a falling out or something? The lack of Sienna the last couple of weeks is strange. But anyway, we got Maria and Allie and Laurel. I can't talk. Maria and Laurel. They bring out Allie, and once again, they're just berating her. They're blaming her for everything, and you tried to hit Laurel with the pie. You were aiming at Laurel because you're just jealous of her and Braxton's steamy relationship, and Laurel is giving Allie shit about that too. That you should have seen that night when Braxton was whispering sweet nothings in my ear, and that's bullshit because Braxton Sutter probably couldn't even reach her ear. She's so high up, that freakishly tall giraffe-looking chick. So, for the record, I'm still not really getting this whole Braxton Sutter connection. I don't see how him and Allie kind of go together. We're not talking about Pepper Parks and Cherry Bomb right now. The characters are just in different spectrums. It just seems awkward to me. So I'm kind of hoping that this won't end with them being paired up, because I think the time really is coming for Allie to get a push in the knockout division, and not just as the Allie character in this storyline, but as a wrestler. I think the time's coming to accelerate that. So, once again, Allie kind of snaps, and she slaps Maria, and then Laurel attacks Allie. So we're finally getting to the nitty-gritty. We're finally, the fists have been raised, and we're finally getting to something physical here. So I'm hoping this will lead to a match with Laurel and or Maria. I'm hoping it's not just going to be them putting her in there with Sienna and just having Allie get destroyed. Because I think the fans are ready to see Allie fight back. And ready to see her kind of stand up to Maria and Laurel and these people who are just making her life a living hell lately. So that's good. That's progression. That's nice. That's what we've been waiting for. Because I know a lot of people have been. I'm kind of frustrated that the Allie character has not really stood up to Maria yet. And she has, in like little increments, but they had to build up to it. Remember, she's still playing this novice who's not really confident in herself and her abilities yet, so they had to kind of just push her until she snapped. And she's at that point now, so I think we're going to see more of Allie as a wrestler from this point forward, and I'm really looking forward to that because, I mean, good lord, if there's no more over babyface in the knockout division right now. I mean, there hasn't been for a while. So I think this is going to be a real boon for the knockout division when that happens. I think it's going to happen pretty soon now. So then we get our first real hype for the main event, which turns out to be the Rosemary video promo from last week. They're just airing it again. I would have preferred a new one, but it was a really good promo. I guess I understand why they would want to show it again. Still, a new one would have been nice, or maybe like a pre-tape backstage or something. Would have preferred that, but they did get a proper hype video a little bit later. So okay. So after this, we go to the Hardys and the DCC. This is like the hour main event, even though so far they've been treating it like the real main event, which is odd. I gotta say, this was a little bit disappointing. You know, considering all the build-up they had for this, this is one of the more built-up feuds on the show at the moment. You know, they had the DCC come in and the original attacks, and then they hurt Matt, they break his brain, and he has to go home for a while to get his memory back, and then they're attacking Jeff and beating Jeff multiple weeks, and then Matt comes back with this as the ball of fire, and then they go to the match, and you'd think this would be really intense. Because there's a lot of really hard feelings here, but it's really not. It's actually kind of slow-paced. I mean, honestly, the brawl, that original brawl where they were fighting backstage all over the studio, and then Matt fell off the crane and broke his brain, that was more exciting than this. I thought that had a lot more intensity than this match. And granted, that was a lot earlier in the TV tapings, so they probably had a lot more energy at that time. As did the crowd. I mean, the crowd really wasn't that into this. Because the crowd has just got to be beyond burned out at this point. I mean, it's a competitive match, technically, but I wouldn't say it was anything that exciting or impressive. It's kind of average, actually. I mean, they gave it a fair amount of time, but... it kind of felt like they were easing the foot off the gas pedal at this point, because, again, they're at the end of the TV tapings, and it's just... They've all got to be running on fumes right now. So, I understand, it's just, we're really kind of seeing the drawbacks of these just marathon TV taping schedules. Because by the end of it, there's going to be a big lack of energy about matches and arguably entire episodes. So that's going to be a problem they're going to have to deal with. I kind of felt it in this match. I was really looking for them to up the intensity here, and unfortunately it just didn't happen. But the Hardys get the win. I think it would have been nice if the DCC got the win, but again, it's Broken Matt, the most buzzed about character in wrestling. They're going to want to keep him strong. And again, it's probably Matt still booking this stuff, because it's not a huge secret that he's been booking this, so of course he's going to be kept strong. We got to expect that. So then we get a proper hype video for Rosemary and Jade. Now, this was more like it. They kind of combined the Rosemary stuff from before with the Jade thing that was on Twitter. Not Twitter, on the YouTube page, rather. They promoted it on Twitter. And, this one has all the editing and the music and the cinematography, and, Jade gets to weigh in on this, and unfortunately for her, when it was her chance to talk, it's not as compelling as when Rosemary does it. You know that Rosemary, Jade is a lot like Gail in that she's the wrestler rather than the character, whereas the character stuff is where Rosemary really shines. So Rosemary always comes off as more compelling. Jade is still playing, she's the tough girl, but you can tell that acting is not necessarily her wheelhouse. She's a lot like Gail in that way. It's not bad, but Rosemary just does come off as the much more commanding presence in these videos. And it was the same thing here. But I did like that the Knockouts got a video package for their cage match main event. That was nice. They were mentioning it a lot, and they got the video promotion here, and that was good. So we have a confrontation with Eli. EC3 runs into Eli Drake backstage, and I like that he put over their match from the previous week. He said Eli Drake proved himself, proved that he belonged in the main event, belonged in the world title picture, and it says, hey, when I win that world title back next week, I'll give you a title shot. You just say the word. Just say the word, Eli. All you have to do is say the word. Oh, you won't say it? Oh, well, okay. No title shot for you then. Oh, poor Eli Drake. I was really looking forward to him trying to milk the fact that he can't talk for some kind of entertainment value, like do a fact of life with nothing but visual aids or something. Unfortunately, that didn't happen here. Hopefully next week. I'm crossing my fingers that they'll do something with that, because, I mean, you've got this unique situation where this super entertaining guy who's awesome on the mic suddenly is not allowed to talk, but he's charismatic enough that he can find a way to make that good, like take a negative and turn it into an opportunity to do something unique with this. Fingers crossed, maybe next week, because he's only got a couple of shows to do that before the year's over. I'd like to see them try to do something with that. But yeah, funny segment with those guys. I really hope this feud is not over because it's awesome. So EC3 comes out for an in-ring promo. He calls out Eddie Edwards, and they're going to talk about their match. Because EC3, by virtue of beating Eli Drake, is now the #1 contender for the world title again. And again, you kind of see... I don't know. It's a lack of energy. It's a lack of focus at first. I kind of felt like EC3 was tired because it starts out kind of subdued, where they're just saying, "Oh, we respect each other, and you're a good champion, Eddie." But then the switch flips, and EC3 gets a lot more focused. He says, "Okay, he's not afraid to stab a friend in the back." And he's going to do whatever it takes to win. And Eddie, he knows what it takes to be a champion, but like staying a champion is a different story, and that's that kind of stuff. And that's, I'm not going to say it was heelish, but he did look very determined, kind of in the same way the Mandrews did in that video package. So you're throwing a little bit of ambiguity in there. So maybe he was pushing the tweener button a little bit. So he's a little less babyface, a little bit more of a heel. Not totally heel, but he's kind of leaning in that direction a little bit. So I do wonder if we might see a heel turn coming from EC3 if he gets a little bit too frustrated in his quest to win the title back. I don't know if that's the right decision to make, but he definitely stressed the fact that there would be no pulled punches in that match. So that's good. And that finally brings us to Red versus Blue, our big Knockouts main event of Rosemary versus Jade for the vacant Knockouts Championship, because Gail Kim got a very convenient injury, which got her out of having to put over the next champion. 1 second, I gotta... sorry. So yeah, Gail Kim got injured. A very convenient time. So got to relinquish the title rather than having to put over someone else. That still kind of bothers me. A lot, actually. Anyway, more than any other match on the show, TNA were promoting this one pretty much exclusively all week. It's the main event. It's a cage match. They did interviews with former champions Taylor Wilde, Taryn Terrell, just to get their thoughts on this. They gave it promos and a hype video, so clearly TNA were very invested in this match turning out well. They wanted to make a big deal out of it. And let's not undersell how big of a deal it is that it's two of the new girls in this spot. Okay, it's not Gail Kim or Mickie James or Tara or another former WWE diva or a girl who has a famous husband or was on a reality show. No, it's two homegrown talents from the indies in the main event. That's a pretty rare thing. And it was very important that this go very well. Okay? So, they're mentioning it a lot throughout the night. They get the hype videos. They both get to weigh in on it. And when it's time for the match, they don't rush anything. They let it breathe. They take a little extra time for the entrances. Rosemary gets the creepy lighting for hers, and I'm pretty sure Jade's music was remixed. And then there's Gail Kim sitting at ringside to kind of commemorate this as a big occasion. And they've got Hype Man JB introducing them in the ring. They were really trying to present this like something big and important was happening here. And that's great. That's what I wanted. And yeah, there was only like 2 weeks of build-up prior to this. Or was it 3? Whatever, 2 or 3 weeks. But if you watch it in a vacuum, it felt like a big match. So thumbs up on that. It shows TNA can actually make something look big when they want it to. When they really put in the effort. And they put the effort in here. Now, there were a couple of kinks in the armor here. For one thing, Madison Rayne didn't contribute much on commentary. She didn't seem that excited about what she was watching. She sounded kind of bored for the most part. And that was unfortunate. Also, they cut to commercials like 90 seconds into the match, which really annoyed me. I was hoping that they could do this commercial free. I knew that was a pipe dream, and it probably wasn't going to happen, but I was hoping. Maybe they could have gotten the commercials out of the way earlier. And I'm probably asking for too much. Plus, I'm almost positive that there was something cut out of the match after they came back. I noticed there was a strange edit at one point that felt like something might have been shortened for time. And damn it, of all the matches to do that with. I watched that back a couple of times. I'm almost certain that there was something cut out. But the match is really damn good. Probably knockout match of the year. Unfortunately, there haven't been too many candidates for that. But there's a great case for this one taking that award, if there was an award. You've got the big bumps. You've got Hurricane Rana off the turnbuckle, diving off the top of the cage. You've got countering finishers. Storytelling with Jade having the poison mist scouted early on, but Rosemary was just screwing with her at that time, and then she gets her with the poison mist at the end. I wish we could have seen the whole thing because this was a great match, and it's a testament to these two that they even got the Impact Zone crowd to wake up finally because that crowd was pretty dead by the end of the night. And in the end, Rosemary wins. And she did it without Crazy Steve, did it without Abyss. They did exactly what I've been wanting to do. They made her look dangerous and powerful and cunning all on her own. They really milked the character for what it was worth here. They didn't shortchange her or make her look like she can't win a match without interference or some shit. No, she did it all on her own. She looked like a badass, like she should. Jade splashed her off the top of the freaking cage, and Rosemary still kicked out of the pin. They're not going to let just anybody do that. And as the cherry on the cake, Rosemary holds the belt right in front of Gail's face, like, yeah, that's right, bitch. I beat your little chosen one. I'm the champion now, and choke on that, asshole. It was wonderful. I just hope that Jane Cena doesn't get any ideas, because they cannot take that title off of Rosemary anytime soon. Not for Gail, not for any fucking buddy. I mean, they've created a real breakout star with Rosemary, and now is the time to stop this hot potato bullshit. Alright? No more lackluster, meaningless knockout title reigns like we saw all this past year. That's gotta stop. This needs to be a long, dominant title reign to reestablish the credibility of that championship. That's kind of taken a pounding in the last year, let's be honest. and I already said, what I'd do with it. I'd have Rosemary just run through every girl on the roster for like 10 months straight and then defend it against Allie at Bound for Glory, because that's the new top heel and top face of this division. And no offense to Gail's chosen one, Jade, but Rosemary and Allie have just got that little something extra. And that was on display here. So, I love the match. I love the result. My one complaint is that I wish they'd given it a few more minutes. Because, you take away the time they got for the entrances, and then you take away the commercial break, and it was probably like 10 minutes. Maybe a little more. And I just wish we could have seen the whole thing. They could have taken a few minutes off of Hardy's stuff. But obviously that wasn't going to happen, unfortunately. And speaking of the Hardys, for like the first half of the show, the way they were treating the Broken Hardys versus the DCC, you would have thought that was the real main event, really. Which did rub me the wrong way at times. Now, afterward, they did shift gears, but it just seemed like too much of the focus was on the Hardys for the first half of the show, which really didn't jibe with the way that they were pushing this match all week on social media, thank God for the knockouts, because aside from them, there wasn't a whole lot on this show that I was really digging. Everything else on the show ranged from okay to good. I love that they're finally doing something with Mandrews, but I don't know if a heel turn was the right move to make with him. I mean, even the return of Broken Matt, while a big deal in and of itself, was a little bit undercut when the match didn't deliver the way I was hoping it would. Plus, they're reaching the end of this just marathon of TV tapings, and you can tell the roster is getting pretty worn down at this point, to say nothing of the crowd. The Allie and Rosemary segments were like the two big bright spots on a show that otherwise didn't seem to be trying that hard a lot of the time. The two big bright spots that you can tell everything is just clicking on all cylinders at the moment. So, those were obviously my big favorites this week. Nothing else was really bad. Grado and Robbie E weren't there. They had some notable things happening, but once you've been taping TV that long, that many days in a row, you can tell like the show is just not going to have the same amount of energy as it would have if everything was fresh. So, just made the Rosemary and Allie stuff just stand out that much more. So, that was Impact. Let's see what you guys thought. You ever a John Cena fan? I wouldn't say I was a fan. I never. I respected the guy. I recognized that he did good work. I wouldn't say I was ever a huge fan of him. There were times when I really just could not stand his character, and he's toned it down since then, but wouldn't say I was ever a huge fan. Should have something sweet nearby for your throat. I had a cough drop before I started this. But it's chronic allergies, so my throat's pretty much always fucked up now. And nothing really seems to help that much. I just try to drink a lot of water and not let it get dried out. Thoughts on the Broken Hardys coming to ROH to delete the Young Bucks? I think it's a big match for ROH to do. I'm not really expecting the belts to change hands or anything, but good for ROH. Not sure if they'll know how to really capitalize it from a storyline perspective, because ROH doesn't really do storylines. When did you just start watching wrestling? I started watching as a little kid. Way back in the day. My favorite was The Ultimate Warrior at the time. Unfortunately, wrestling was not allowed in my house, so I wasn't really able to watch it or follow it as much as I wanted to until I went away to college. And then I was in a suite with 7 other guys, and they were all big wrestling fans. So that's when I got pretty heavily back into it at that point, and it's been that way ever since. Let's see. How would you rate Aaron Rex's run at TNA so far? Work in progress. I think originally they brought him in as a face just because he's the WWE guy coming in. Hey, look, it's another super talented guy that WWE dropped the ball on. Here he is. Everybody cheer for him. And it kind of felt like that was all they needed to do with him at the time. And they needed to give him a little bit more. So I'm not surprised that he came off as a little bit generic early on. Bland even. because this is a guy that really excels at playing a character, and it felt like they weren't really giving him one. Um, but it's been improving. I think since he started acting more heelish, it's been getting better. Um, so I wouldn't say that he blasted out of the gate, because there was a bit of a lull when they were kind of finding themselves with this talent. I think as they give him more character to work with, it's going to get better, and we see that now. He's already much more entertaining as a heel than he was as a face. So maybe that's just a process he's got to go through. Because in WWE, he started out as a heel, but eventually he was just so funny and charming and entertaining as a heel that he started getting over as a face, so they had to turn him. Maybe that's just what he has to go through. It's a process that he has. Let's see. Five-minute runs. Do you have your suicide pills with you every time Madison Rayne talks? No. No, honestly, I don't have a problem with Madison anymore. I haven't for a while, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was a time when I absolutely could not stand her, but I mean, since then, she's pretty much fixed every problem I had with her. I mean, she's addressed all the issues. She doesn't, like, screech all her promos into the microphone anymore. She's changed her in-ring style so that it's not boring as hell. They're not over-pushing her to the fucking moon anymore. I'm pretty much fine with Madison these days. I think the only real... I guess if I had to pick one issue with her is that she's just not terribly relevant. But, again, they're not pushing her. They're not really pushing her at all. They're using her as an enhancement talent to help the other girls for the most part. So, I don't really have an issue. Let's see. I don't get why Aaron Rex issued an open challenge. He's a cowardly heel, not a badass like Lashley or EC3. Plus, wasn't Jesse supposed to get a title shot first? Well, Jesse has had several title shots. Now, he did get a non-title win over Rex, so I guess you could argue that he was owed another one. For the record, I was kind of confused as to why Jesse didn't come out here, because it seemed like a way to just like finish things off with that feud. So it was kind of weird to see Moose come out. Maybe they did that just for the shock factor. Or maybe Goddard's getting that non-title win over Rex was intended to be the end of the feud. Who knows? But yeah, that was a little strange. Yeah, and it was odd to see the cowardly heel issuing the open challenge, but remember, he's also an egotistical heel. So maybe he just wasn't expecting Moose to come out. Or maybe if he was expecting Jesse Goddard, so it's like, well, I beat the guy twice, so I still got one up on him. Maybe he was just feeling cocky that day. I agree, it doesn't make 100% sense, but I don't think it's a huge issue. It didn't really bother me. This is just what heels do sometimes. Do you see Neville as a main eventer? No. No, that dude's got to get some mic skills to be a main eventer. I'm sorry. Hear that Cody Rhodes is a heel in ROH? That seems like a stupid decision. Why did they turn Mandrews of all people? He's probably the most popular guy in the division. Hell, people were still cheering him after he turned heel. I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, this is a guy who was getting the crowd behind him when he never won matches. I mean, they were starting to do Mandrews chants in the Impact Zone when he was still just jobbing all the time. Every time we saw him. And now that they turn him heel, it's a strange decision. So I don't really understand it. I'm going to give it a chance just because I like that they're finally doing something with him. So let's give it a shot and see if he can do something with that. Maybe he'll be really good as a heel. I don't know. But it just seems like a really weird turn of events. And it's probably not something that I would have done. So I would agree with you. It's a strange way to go, but it's the first time they've ever given this guy something to work with. So let's give it a shot. Let's see. I was saddened that the DCC ate a loss to the Hardys. They killed the interest for a rematch. Why not let the DCC win the first match, have a few fuck finishes, and end with a big final deletion match? Well, I wouldn't say they lost the... Well, they did get several wins over Jeff prior to this. I didn't like the conclusive finish, but I don't think it killed them. I would have preferred like a DQ finish or something. I agree, the loss does hurt them a little bit, but tough call. I think some kind of inconclusive finish would have been better, but I guess they wanted to do something a little more definitive because it was Broken Matt's big return. Maybe they just weren't ready to switch the titles yet. Right now, the DCC look like the best option to take the titles, unless they want to put the Decay back in there, which is probably a little bit too soon. So you can't really do it yet, because if you switch the titles now, it just puts you back in the same position you were in before. Let's see. Just watched Impact for the first time in a few years. They seem to be making the same mistakes as before, for example, burying the X Division. I wouldn't say they buried it here. Yeah, because the X Division was on the show. They got a video package, they got a match, and they got some kind of storyline direction with one of the guys turning heel. I wouldn't say they buried it. You could have said that a few months ago. But I think lately there's been at least some kind of an effort to give the X Division at least semi-regular TV time, which is more than they had before. I'm so glad Mandrew's turn. He could join forces with Spud again. Now he can finally have character besides Skater number 23. That's true. If he's a heel now, they could finally do that tag team with Rockstar Spud. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. I still think it's awkward that Mandrew's turned heel, but this does open up some possibilities for him. Plus, Spud is really underutilized now too. So if this could finally make that tag team, hell, go for it. Let's see. Allie needs to push the button on main event Allie. Well, she's over enough. They could probably pull that off. They said they're going to do a lot of tapings next year. A lot of tapings next year. Yeah, I think the problem is that they're doing a lot of tapings all at once. So they'll only have to do like 3 or 4 sets of TV tapings all year. I think that's the plan. And that is going to be rough. Man, that roster is going to be beat up all to hell by the end. Because I think they're going to try to tape like 3 or 4 months worth of shows in a little over a week. Oh, that's going to be brutal. I don't know how they're going to keep the audience invested, because that audience is going to be exhausted, and the roster is just going to be, ugh. Wow. That is a rough schedule to tape that much TV in such a short span of time. I guess I'll take it over them, not doing TV at all, but wow. That's going to be hard. Hopefully we're getting Allie versus Maria soon, with Sienna turning on Maria in the match. Sienna needs to be pushed again. Yes to a Sienna push. I don't think I'd do it in the match itself, though, because I think that needs to be Allie's moment. I think she needs to take down Maria on her own, not because somebody helped her out, because that's development. She can't keep relying on other people to help her out. She's got to do. I think she needs to do this one on her own, by herself. I think they could have Sienna turn on Maria afterward. So I think that's something that does need to happen before Maria leaves. But then you got to answer the question, okay, what do you do with Sienna after that? Because, Rosemary's ensconced as the top heel right now. So unless they want to start another storyline for Sienna, maybe she's going to feud with Brandy Rhodes or something. Might be ill-timed. You know? Let's see. Is it wrong that I find Allie more adorable than Bailey? No, it's not. I feel the same way. No, with Allie, it feels... How do I say this? I don't know. I think with Allie, at least for me, it feels more charming. Whereas with Bailey, even though she's doing kind of a similar thing, doing like the kid-friendly underdog type of thing, with Bailey, it feels a little bit like pandering to me. Whereas Allie, I think, for me, Allie just sells it better. Opinions will vary on that one, but that's how I feel about it. The Knockouts match was very good, but I feel like it could have been better. It needed one more spot for it to be really great. At least they main evented. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Like I said, there was almost definitely something cut out of that match that we didn't see. So maybe there was something that, I don't know, that just didn't make the cut because of time or something. I don't know. One more big spot, yeah, that would have been cool. I think one more big thing off the cage would have been nice. But like I said, still very good. Still a very satisfying match for me, regardless. Damn it. Do you think Braxton Sutter will join Mandrews against DJZ? I don't think so. No, I think they're going to keep him face just just because of the Alley connection. Because I think that needs to be resolved first before they can focus on what to do with him in the X Division. Because if they wanted to turn him heel, then it wouldn't make sense for Alley to still be kind of crushing on him. Unless they wanted to have him turn against Alley and just go off with Laurel. Then, then it would work, I guess. I don't know if that's the route they're taking, though. Is JB already writing what we're seeing? No, I don't think so. So yeah, I think everybody knows this by now. Apparently JB has been made the new head of creative. So I guess he's got the book now. So I'm pretty sure that was all done after this most recent set of tapings was concluded. So what we're seeing right now, this is Dave Lagana and Billy Corgan and like their vision. Okay, we're not going to see what kind of vision JB has until the next set of TV tapings in January. Now we might see little pieces of what JB has to offer because obviously there's going to be some stuff that has to be post-produced or filmed after they shot all the TV. Like that stuff at the Hardy compound that has to be all done long before the show airs, but probably after they filmed all the wrestling. So because there's a lot of post-production that goes into that, so that's probably JB's vision, maybe. Beyond that, we gotta wait till January. I like the fact that they're still building to the world title match. Old TNA would have had EC3 challenge for the title match on the same night he won the #1 contendership. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Maybe they finally realized that if you build up something more, people will be more excited for it when it happens. You're not trying to blow their load all at once now, which is nice. I'd love to see DCC throwing away their masks backstage. Eli Drake stumbles on the masks and finds the voice box inside and uses it to talk because it's not really his voice or something similar. I had the idea that he should try to talk using a voice synthesizer. Like Stephen Hawking does. It might not work, but it would be fun to see him try. To do effective life like that. Sure, it might be bad, but maybe they could make it bad on purpose. Now, if Cody Rhodes is coming back anytime soon, I don't know. I imagine he'll be back eventually. Aaron Rex seems to be losing steam. How do you think they should book him after losing the title? Just take him in a different direction. It seems like they're starting. That the crying thing afterward appeared to be hinting at some kind of new direction for him. So, the best thing they can do is just give him as much character as possible, because he'll take that and he'll make it work, just like he did in WWE. They gave him a lot of shit to work with in WWE, and just about every time he was able to turn it into a shit sandwich. So imagine if they give him something halfway decent. He'll make it work. He just needs a little support from the writers. Cage match was good. I don't think it was necessary to be in the cage. It wasn't necessary, but in this case, I was fine with it. I like that it was in the cage because we're crowning a new champion, and that should be a big deal. And we need to present it as a big deal because the title has been kind of put through the ringer this past year, with a lot of the hot potatoing and the unmemorable title reigns and all that stuff. They needed to do something, some kind of big event or match or whatever, to just reestablish that this is an important championship. So I like that it was in the main event and that it was a cage match. Was the cage match unnecessary? Yeah, probably. But I think this helped put it over the top a little bit. So I liked that it was a cage match personally. Let's see. Where's Mike Bennett? He was feuding with EC3. I thought he was the man, and now he's faded away. I think Mike Bennett's just in between feuds right now. He was feuding with Cody, but now Cody is doing his thing in ROH. I assume Cody will be back at some point, but I think they're just waiting to transition Mike Bennett into something else. Maybe he'll go back to the feud with Moose and go for the Grand Championship. Who knows? I agree. I would like to see more focus on Mike Bennett, but hey, they've only got 2 hours. So you can't focus on everybody all at once. But I would like to see an increased push for him. I agree with that. See, Rosemary was really made to look like an unstoppable force. Hope she stays healthy and hope Hollywood Gail Hogan doesn't kill her. Yeah, that's the one thing I'm really concerned with. Because Gail only dropped the title because she was injured. So what happens when she's healthy? Are they gonna have her come back like a house of fire and just win the title right back? Because that would be horrible. I mean, they acknowledged during the main event that their rumors are circulating that Gail was going to announce her retirement. So if they're acknowledging it on TV, that means Gail probably doesn't have that much longer to go. They cannot just bring her back and have her take the title right back. They can't do it. They have to understand how important it is to establish a new generation of top knockouts that are going to be able to carry the ball when Gail leaves, because they can't just rely on her, on just Gail anymore. They can't do it. Doesn't mean they won't try, but it's going to do nothing but hurt them in the long run. So I agree. I totally agree with you on that. If they do bring back Gail, she needs to just go into that match, have a match with Rosemary and lose. Have Rosemary beat her just like she did Jade. Now, if they want to have Jade ultimately be the one to take the title from her, okay, so be it. But don't have it be Gail. Okay, if Jade is Gail's chosen one, her chosen successor, then have Jade do it. Don't have Rosemary beat Gail and then lose the title to Jade if that's the game plan. I would have Rosemary just beat both of them. Maybe have some kind of storyline with Gale and Jade where, like, Jade kind of loses confidence in herself and, like, Gale tries to help her get her mojo back or something. But just, just please don't have Rosemary lose it back to Gale. Please don't do that. Oh, God, that would be horrible. Let's see. Is the Team X Gold thing over now? Dude, I have no idea. They've never bothered to explain anything about this concept. I don't know. It could be done, it could not be done. They haven't said one way or the other. Do you think there are more chicken shit heels than badass heels because badass heels are hard to hate? No, I think there are more chicken shit heels than badass heels because chicken shit heels are just easier. I think a lot of it is just laziness by the writers. I mean, just about every heel in the WWE reverts to the chicken shit behavior at some point. It's like they're just the constant go-to when the writers are writing heels. It just even characters that really shouldn't be chicken shit heels. Fuck, Brock Lesnar was doing the chicken shit stuff when Goldberg came back. And Christ, if there's one character that shouldn't be doing chicken shit stuff, it's Brock Lesnar. Brock can just jump in there and fight. So I don't think badass heels are any more difficult to hate than any other kind. It's just a matter of how it's done. They can be badass and then just brag about how they're so much more badass than everyone else and they're better than everyone else. You know, it's not difficult. It just takes creativity. They could have taken out the Moose Rex match, have Rex fake an injury, and get counted out 2 minutes in. That way you got an extra 5 minutes for the main event. Well, if he was counted out 2 minutes in, that would have made the match longer than it ended up being, because it was like 1 minute and change. But I think they could have taken that out, you're right. Just start the show with the Hardy stuff, and push Rex Moose to next week, and then give that time to the main event. That's a good idea. That's probably what it worked out best. ROH does storylines, but they're way too old school for my taste. A simple mid-card feud can take years to end, where they would milk every last drop to the point that people are sick of it. Oy. So they're doing storylines, but it's like they're taking place in slow motion, basically. I haven't watched ROH in a while, and every time I try, I just can't stick with it. I just get bored. Anybody in ROH you think would do good for TNA? The Young Bucks. Taylor Hendricks. Veda Scott. Well, Veda Scott just left. Kelly Klein. I want to say Crazy Mary Dobson, but she's signed with WWE, so that's not happening. Dalton Castle. Is he still there? I don't know. Oh, and the Motor City Machine Guns. Duh. Let's see. Okay. What direction do you see TNA going in now that Corgan is no longer there? Good idea. Good question. I really don't know. I mean, JB is kind of an unknown commodity in terms of a creative head. We've got very little to go on with him. We know that he was largely instrumental in producing the Broken Universe vignettes. So that's probably got a lot of his input in it. So if anything, I imagine we might be seeing more of that type of stuff. But your guess is as good as mine. We're just going to have to wait and see because we don't. This is really the first time that he's had the book Yes, he's been in creative for a while. I guess he's had creative input before, but this is the first time that he'll be running the show in that regard. So we just gotta wait. Let's see. Should the DCC tell us more about exactly what they want? They say the Hardys are in their way. Their way to what? Yeah, that's an issue I've had too. We really don't know what the DCC's MO is. And I guess being mysterious is part of it, but if they have a goal, let's hear it. Let's see what they want exactly, because we still don't know. They could work on explaining things a little bit more. There's Team X goal. It's like, what is the purpose of this? Should Jeff Hardy be the champion again? Not if he's planning to leave when his contract runs out. No. Where are you from? Your pronunciation of certain words is unique. Not as an insult, just curious. I live in New England, and that's about as specific as I'm willing to get. Do you think Moose will produce good matches as the Grand Champion? Well, he's been producing good matches so far. But like I said, I think they might as well just kill the 3-round structure at this point. I don't see any reason to root against him. I've liked his work so far. We just there's no reason to think he'll shit the bed or anything. Let's see. I finally got to finish Luke Cage. Gotta say, very overrated. It's way too slow, just like ROH booking, basically. I still prefer Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Luke is better as a side character, in my opinion. I would say that Jessica Jones was the slowest paced out of all the shows so far. Now, I'm believe me, I had some issues with Luke Cage, but I didn't think the pacing was as bad as Jessica Jones. They could stand to accelerate the pacing, certainly, but I don't think that was the real issue. You think Eddie Edwards is the worst champion in recent times? No, certainly not. I mean, he's been delivering great in the ring. Promos have been haven't been as scintillating as you want from a world champion, but that's never been Eddie's wheelhouse. In the ring, he does great, and I do think it made sense for him to win. The way he won the title made sense. I think we're kind of reaching. We're kind of reaching a point where this is going to start getting old. Because he doesn't really have the chops as a character to make this compelling over a long period of time. And we're seeing hints of that already. But I don't think he's been a bad champion. It's just maybe one that not everybody was on board with. But there are champions you could have said a lot worse about in the last couple of years. Certainly. Rosemary Jade was great. Glad Rosemary won. Jump off the top rope of the top of the cage by Jade was sick. How would you write Davey coming back? I don't know, just have him reform the Wolves. Like, make the save for Eddie and reform the tag team, because they're still lacking good tag teams in the tag team division right now. Plus, if this is going to be Davey's last year, I'd like him to get I'd like the Wolves to get one more run with the tag titles, and I'd also like to see Davey get a shot at the world title, too. Andrews turning heel was interesting. At least they have an X Division angle now. Agreed. I don't know about him turning heel, but I'm going to give it a shot. Uh, win or lose, Eddie Edwards EC3 next week. Where do you see them going afterwards? I could see Eddie holding the title a little bit longer, even if I don't necessarily agree with it. Although, if he does go over EC3, they might. I don't know. I could see an EC3 heel turn where he just snaps finally, because they have been doing this thing where he's been trying to scratch and claw and really work his way back to the world title, and things keep happening to set him back over and over. So I could see that leading to a heel turn, or him just kind of digging his claws in deeper and just trying that much harder. But I guess it kind of depends where they want to go with that. If this is leading to a redemption story or a heel turn, because that's two very different stories there. Let's see. Allie slapping Maria was awesome. Love the Jade Rosemary match, but they did need to show Gail every 20 seconds. Hey, look, at least Gail wasn't inserted into the match. Yeah, at least they weren't making the match itself all about Gail. Yeah, I'll take them cutting to her constantly over her being in the match and taking the spotlight away from Jade and Rosemary. Should James Storm interfere in the EC3 Eddie Edwards match so they can push him for the title? I would like that. I would like that very much, because I want James Storm to be the next world champion. That's what he's got to win that fucking thing. This is the time. In this run, it's got to happen, because James Storm deserves to be the world heavyweight champion, damn it. Because his first run was 2 weeks. It was just to put over Bobby Roode's title run. This is his time. It's his turn. James Storm for world champion, goddammit. Madison was awful on commentary. Wouldn't say she was awful, she just wasn't good. She didn't really have anything interesting to contribute, and she sounded kind of bored. I'm not really sure what the purpose is of her being in commentary, because she just doesn't seem to add that much, Are you looking forward to Old Man Logan? I think it looks interesting. I'll see it. I'm not really anticipating it a huge amount. I haven't been enamored with the previous Logan solo movies. X-Men Origins Wolverine was just bad, and the Wolverine was the Wolverine was good. I haven't really been over the moon about any of them, though. With Corgan out, do you see the grand title ending just to spite Billy? I could see them doing away with the 3-round format and just doing it like a regular title. I don't think they'll do away with it completely, though. And that is going to do it, because, man, my ear is ringing again, god damn it. And I'm starting to lose my voice again, so that'll be it for today. Thanks for joining me. Comic show, post-show, it'll be on Thursday again, 10:15 p.m. Eastern. I guess we got the mid-season finale of all the shows now. So tune in for that. And I will talk to you again on Saturday for Impact again. I think we only got a couple more shows before we do Total Nonstop Deletion. So get excited for that. That's gonna be something to see. So get excited. So I'm all done. I got to give my voice a rest. So thanks for joining me. Good questions, everybody. I will talk to you on Thursday. Until then, peace out.